What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Stress Management class. I am the instructor, Jarrett, and today we're going to talk about stress. And in this whole class and series and ongoing series, just make sure that after you go into this course, you continually check back. Because I am going to be constantly uploading things to help you manage stress and really just give you different ways to think about stress and how to mitigate its effects on your health. So if you are one of those people that are stressed out, possibly anxious, even some other just mental stuff going on, this course is going to help you out, because what we are going to do is break down how stress affects the body and how you can actually use the body to start affecting stress. Before we start anything, I want to just give some definitions. Now, I looked up stress in the dictionary, and the definitions were terrible. For example, right? This was the first definition I got: pressure or tension exerted on a material object. Doesn't really mean much. And then the next one is a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. Now, I think that's a little bit closer, but basically when I talk about stress, there are certain things that happen inside of your body, and that's basically what we're going to talk about, and how do you start to reduce those effects of stress on your body, because a lot of times we believe, or we've been taught, that stressful things happen outside of the body and the body has a reaction. Well, sometimes things are already happening inside of the body, which is causing you to have a stressful outlook on everything. Not saying that that's everything, because stressful things absolutely 100% happen, right? But stress is also one of those things you can't get rid of. And it's also one of those things that you actually go through each day, right? For example, stress is not bad, right? Stress is not bad, because if you didn't have any stress, you wouldn't have any sort of motivation to do anything, right? When there's stress, right, it basically helps you wake your body up, right? There's stress responses, and everybody's probably heard of this, the fight or flight response, right? But there's another one called freeze, right? So you have fight, flight, and freeze, and these are basically, I'm gonna take these off, there's got too much glare. So basically, you have fight, flight, or freeze, and that's basically how the body reacts to stress, right? So fight or flight basically means fight, which basically means that you stay and you fight it, right? And that usually happens outside the body and inside the body. For example, if you come up on some sort of stressful situation, let's just say a lion is chasing you, you have the option to fight, flight, or freeze. If in that option, right, what's going to happen externally, if you fight, you're literally going to fight the lion, right? If you flight, which basically means you're going to run, right? And then if you freeze, you basically freeze and everything freezes up and you do nothing, right? That happens on the outside of the body. What happens on the inside of the body is when you fight, right, your body actually takes basically your neurological system gets ramped up, right? Because now you have to basically fight for your life, and your body is always trying to keep you alive, right? So the blood is going to start to rush to the extremities, right? Because you want to be able to move better and have more dexterity and more speed, strength, whatever it is in your limbs to fight this thing, right? Whatever it is, right? And if for flight, the same response happens. So your blood rushes to your limbs, right? So that you can actually flight and run out of there, right? And freeze would be, it's kind of like you get caught in a loop and you can't do anything and you're just like, right? So that would be the fight, flight, or freeze. Now, that's if a lion is chasing you. And typically that doesn't happen, right? Typically people are not stressed out because of lions chasing them or people trying to harm them a lot. That's not really the common cases, even though that is common, right? Or not common, even though that does happen, right? It doesn't mean that it's common. Most people deal with stress because of their work situation, because of their family situation, right? Because of other emotions and things like that. But what most people don't know is that there are many types of stress that will give you those three responses: fight, flight, or freeze, right? So the different kinds of stressors that you have in your body are going to be mental and emotional, right? So this is basically anything that you kind of conjure up in your mind when you think, right? And anything that's actually happening and you're processing, right? So that's mental and emotional. Right? Then we have chemical. So chemical stress is going to basically be anything that you're putting on or in your body. This could be foods, this could be lotions, this could be soaps, this could be deodorants, this could be things that you're drinking, right? This is anything that's getting put in your body is going to basically be chemical, right? Because even if it is organic, right, there's chemical reactions happening in your body, right? So chemical stress, right? Then we have EMF stress, right? So this is going to be electrical magnetic frequencies, right? So these are going to be like the subtle energies that we don't see them. We don't see EMFs at all, right? But electromagnetic frequencies actually control a lot of the things that we're around. Electromagnetic frequencies are like Wi-Fi, are like the cell phone signal. So 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G, 1G, right? All those G's in there, the electrical grid, right? All of those things actually have an impact on you because you vibrate at a certain frequency. Now, I don't want to lose people when I say you vibrate at a certain frequency, but literally how you can tell, basically how the body is measured, right, is in frequencies, right? So certain parts of your body have a certain frequency. Now, this frequency can be interacted with when you have Wi-Fi signals, when you have 5G signals, when you have electrical signals. There have been plenty of clients that I've worked with that they've had massive headaches. I want to say at least 5 people have had massive headaches. And then I asked them one simple question, what do you live around? They're like, a power line. Crazy. They go on vacation, massive headaches go away, right? And this has happened on 5 different occasions. Massive headaches go away, they feel fine, and they're thinking like they're just going through this crazy amount of stress. And yes, EMFs are stressful on the body, but the whole thing was that the EMFs around them are actually contributing to their health and well-being. And in this case, it was detrimental health and well-being, right? So you have a whole bunch of different things that are acting on your body. And I don't want to get too sidetracked with that because I was naming all the things, right? And there's thermal stress. So let me go through that again. There's there's electrical magnetic frequency stress, right? So that's going to be EMF stress, right? There's going to be chemical stress. There's going to be emotional and mental stress, right? And then there's going to be thermal stress. Now, thermal stress is basically going to be inflammation inside of the body, so inflammatory stress, right? Again, inflammation is one of those things that is always demonized, and yes, chronic inflammation is not good, but inflammation is nothing but an immune response. Inflammation is a response that your body is trying to make sure that you are safe. So inflammation tries to contain something, right? So if you get injured, you definitely want some inflammation because this is going to bring extra blood flow to the area, and possibly if you're in a stuck area, right? Like let's just say you're hiking, you roll your ankle in the woods, and then if inflammation happened, right, you actually wouldn't be able to use that. You wouldn't be able to use that limb very well, and you'd get stuck. But inflammation actually helps you, right? It's nothing but an immune response. It sends extra blood flow, and obviously sometimes things get puffy. And what it tries to do is try to contain everything in that area. Now, if you have inflammation happening over and over and over again, and most people aren't rolling their ankle over and over and over again, it tends to be from the chemicals that you are putting in your body, right? That are causing internal inflammation. Now, that internal inflammation is normally happening somewhere in your gut, or maybe other places in your body. When you have that chronic inflammation, this starts to dry out and break down areas. So you don't want your organs, tendons, joints drying out and breaking down, right? So chronic inflammation, meaning an inflammation that's happening over and over and over and over and over again, is not going to be great. Hence why thermal stress is a problem, right? And thermal stress is inflammation. Now, pay attention to the next slide, or to the next lesson. This was just an intro of what stress is. In the next lesson, what we're going to focus on is just the different ways that you can actually recognize stress is happening in your